Welcome back. So we're going to talk about some of the implications for entrepreneurs. And the first one we talk about is the importance, stomp, of having a plan for your social media. Just because social media doesn't cost you anything doesn't mean that you shouldn't treat it like any other part of your business. Okay, or at least doesn't cost you anything relative to, inventory or rent or whatever, right? It's relatively low cost. What I would recommend to you is actually put a social media plan, even a checklist if you have to, in the marketing section of your business plan. Give it that level of attention and that level of detail. You are better off doing it right the first time than having to redo it. Now I'll give an example from my own personal experience, not that but I think it illustrates a point. I had another YouTube channel before I started this one. And I didn't plan it out. I did it in a hurry. I was trying to do it for a class. And the video quality is very poor. I did it in my parents' basement. Some of you may have seen the original Screaming Professor video. That's from my old channel. I'll post the link for those of you that may not have seen it down below. But that was from my old YouTube channel. And it wasn't exactly the most successful YouTube channel. Again, you couldn't hear anything. And so I just had to wind up redoing it. And that took many, many hours of rework. Had I just paid attention, slowed down, and done it right the first time, I would have been better off. Okay? So actually take the time to do it right. Basically that's it. Also, you need to figure out some sort of a maintenance schedule for your social media. Again, as I mentioned, some of these owners are talking about 2.5 hours per day just to maintain their social media. You have to ask yourself, is that the best use of my time? If you do not think that you're going to earn any income or get any tangible benefits from 2.5 hours of your day being spent on this, then don't do it. Again, in many cases, the owner's time may be better spent doing something else. Okay? Social media is not the answer to every company's problem. Another thing, you need to think about a training program on social media. So if you're going to start a Facebook page or a Twitter account or YouTube or whatever, actually go through some training on it. Okay? Figure out what you're supposed to be doing. Now I'll talk about YouTube a little bit because that's a platform I know a little bit better. YouTube has a ton of videos out there telling you how to do stuff, how to upload video, how to understand your analytics, how to pretty much everything you need to know on YouTube. The question is, do you have the time and the ability to do it? But at least they give you instructions, so Go through that training. I remember when I was in graduate school, our ph.d. program started a blog and also a Twitter account. And I went through the training for how to use the ph.d. blog. And it was like a 2 or 3 hour thing, but it was actually pretty good training, right? And I learned how to do it. And there were 5 of us, I think, that went through the training. Everybody was supposed to go. Out of 45 people, only 5 actually showed up. And of course, they didn't care. They didn't want to do it. And that was, of course, bad for promoting the PhD program. Now, I went to some Twitter training for the Twitter account for our PhD program, and that training didn't go as well. And you have to remember, when I went through this particular class, it must have been 2012, 2013, 2014. I can't exactly remember, but it was a little while ago, about the time that a lot of these articles were written about social media for the first time. And they were saying, well, we need to have a Twitter account for the PhD program. And I said, that's ridiculous. I said, the only thing that people use on Twitter is talking about, something they just ate or the fact that they're going to make a trip to the bathroom. And I remember the Twitter trainer looked at me and he said, that is ridiculous. That is an ignorant statement. In fact, I'd be willing to bet you that famous professors all over the world use a Twitter account. And so we said, well, I don't believe you. He said, well, name one famous academic that you're sure has a Twitter account. And so I named this guy who had just been at the school like a day before as a visiting professor. And so he typed in his name, but there was another guy who had the same last name, and that was the name that came up. And I just remember it said, like, under the description, it said something like, the tweet came up as he typed it in. It was something like, I'm just a laid back guy taking a dump, or something around those lines, right? And it hammered on my point that I said that Twitter was only used for people describing going to a restaurant or going to the bathroom. And I remember everybody in the room started laughing. We looked at this Twitter trainer very awkwardly, and nobody took that ph.d Twitter account very seriously after that. Of course, now Twitter is used for much more than that. But I was very skeptical at that time. Of course, I hadn't gone through the training, and I'm still not an expert in Twitter. Another thing is you need to figure out the metrics of your particular social media platform. Remember, what gets measured gets done. I actually did not know at first on YouTube how you can actually do measurements. YouTube has a wonderful analytics section on it. I can tell who's watching, how long they're watching. I can see all of that stuff. And so that helps me create better content, better videos, gives me feedback on how I'm doing. And most social media platforms have some sort of a metric that you can use. Learn how to use those metrics. This can help you better reach your customers. If you know what they're responding to positively and what they like, give them more of that. Something doesn't work, don't do it again. Make sure that your social media is customer-centric. Remember, you're using social media to reach an audience. Make it about them. Again, customer relationship management. This video article talks about making sure that it tailors to your specific geography, and there's something to be said for that, right? Making sure that it caters to local customers, people that, especially for small businesses, make sure that these are potential customers. But again, remember, if you make it customer-centric, you can also get like those ASMR videos that get tens and tens and tens of thousands of videos or views from all over the world, and that can actually be an additional source of revenue for you. Okay, keep that in mind. Another thing that you need to think about is start with just one platform and get really good at it, right? I've been doing YouTube for a couple of years, and my full-time job is a professor and a consultant, but I've been doing YouTube for a couple of years. There is so much on YouTube that I still don't know how to do, and I haven't mastered it. In fact, I think the people that do YouTube full-time still haven't mastered because there's so much to know. Get as good as you can get with one platform, or get to that point where you're not going to get like any extra benefit from investing any more time in that particular social platform before you move on to another. Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, each of these have their own peculiarities, and how you use them is going to be a little bit different. So master one before you move on to the other. Remember that social media can build customers in a very cost-effective way. Again, you are basically only, the only thing that you're out is basically your dignity, your time, and what little hardware you invest. Remember to promote your social media both online and offline. Put it on your cards, your business cards, your menus. Let people know that they should come see your channel. Promote it every chance you have. You may want to use it to expand existing relationships, right? Use it to retain customers that you've already got. And then, of course, one thing that this article talked about that I hesitate to advise you on. It says make sure when possible that you can collect email addresses from those people that give you the likes and the thumbs up and offer them discounts for that. And that way you can follow up with an email about their new services. Yes, because everybody likes their inbox full of spam messages, right? I don't know about this one. I mean, I've dealt with people once or twice and I've given them my email, and you know what happens when I see those emails? Especially with Gmail, it just goes into promotions and social. I don't even read the stuff. So I don't really know that that's exactly the most effective way to use social media. Well, I hope you enjoyed this particular discussion. I have a very brief concluding video as the next video. As always, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, comment down below, and make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the final video.